What's up, people? So it's Sunday, last day of my vacation. We're gonna do a little bit of coding, not a lot, just a little. Today is the 7th. It is 1:48. I'm gonna say 1:45 and 1:45 to Alright, let's look at our things to do. Last time we began refactoring skeleton player data logic, and that involves a lot of different places that we have to change the code. So I'm pretty sure we're gonna jump into client first, and let's see what I wrote. I put this 4624 stopped at line 86 in CalPy. I need to implement logic in CalPy elsewhere that determines which attribute list we need to be working with regarding appends, etc. Okay. Continue iterating through instances of skeleton player data dict in entire project directory, replacing with skeleton player data instead and updating associated logic. Okay, so let's go to line 86. Okay. Nope, that's not right. So maybe it was 286 or 186. Data, skeleton deck, and then skeleton player data. Okay, so whatever I did, I put the wrong line. So I guess, yeah, we'll start in the send section. That makes sense, I suppose. We'll do send first, then receive. So elif adder. Oh, I always forget to do this. And make sure our link works. Okay, it does. Cool. Okay, now so we have this line here which says data dict equals get adder key adder name, but that is not how we're not gonna do that. So that's gone. Is populated is also gone. That's gone. For key and data dict gone. All this is gone. All that's being replaced with the new system. Able to get rid of a lot of code. For key and adder val. Yep, and get rid of all that. Client, change player attribute dictionary, add item, SQL. Yeah, we don't need that either because it's already there. We don't need to change client at all. Damn, so what do we need to check for send actually? did we have a instance where we didn't want to send it? I don't think so. Yeah, so yeah, we're just getting rid of that. I don't really know what's supposed to go here. Yeah, I can't think of. I'll just leave this here for now. I'll put a note. I can't think of anything that would need to be coded here. Can't think of anything. So let's do this. Control Shift F, and we're gonna do skeleton player data. Now, this is, I'm pretty sure, yeah, this is all in client. So we're gonna not mess with client right now. We're gonna go to, okay, here we go. This is where I left off. 4, 6, 24, 1, 2, 3, stopped here. Notice that this is item 1, not item. Do not fuse a section with below section. ID list append. Okay. Continue the instances of skeleton player data dictionary type and updating associated logic. Alright. So this we're gonna need to know which dictionary which list we're gonna be adding this data to. So instead it's gonna be C1 or C2 changed attribute list append. And we're gonna append in the form of, I know I already have some here. Right, here it is. So we'll just copy this here. So we need to append the timestamp, which is gonna be time.perf counter. Dir string is gonna be player, almost certainly, right? So player is gonna have the skeleton player data. That is correct. Okay. So now we can do the adder name, and the adder name is going to be the self card group name, but it's going to exclude P1 or P2. And like, yeah, that's how we did it before, so that should be the way that we do it now. And this is going to be a string, so this would be like hand or pre-sort play cards, melds, last set play cards ref, maybe. Let's go look and see exactly what it is. So yeah, all these Badland Black 3 meld ref, initial last set play cards ref, all that shit is going in into this. Falls into this category. Now we need the data itself, and in this case it would be a tuple. Okay, so this is for last set play cards ref, so this is different. And then it has a list of item ID and then ID list. Okay. So I'm wondering if I can turn this into a tuple. Can I turn this from list to tuple? Alright, and the item at 0 is ID. What is the item at 0? Then is this... and then we append, and then the ID list. I don't remember how this section works. Like, why do we use the item 0 ID at all? What does the item 0 ID have to do with anything? So this is for the last set of play cards. We get the ID list from item 1, but why do we have item 1? So like, let's say we're appending a list. We're appending an entire list. So we're gonna say item 1 is, or like item is the entire list, and then item at, I don't understand. Current card and item at 1. It's listed in string type item lower. Custom append list not in string type item lower. And self cargo name and skeleton list. Okay, so this is when it is a list. Item is a list, but it's not a custom append list. So in this case, we're appending a list to another list. And this list is a last set of played cards reference. We're iterating through item 1. I don't understand. What is item 1? I would think that, like, if we're appending a list of cards, then that would mean well, let me read this comment. This accounts for the various instances wherein we are appending non-custom append list instances, usually slice mode copies, to a custom append list group, such as lend2 temp melds ref, or initial melded cards, etc. These instances should be sparing and should be reviewed to ensure that the object being appended is not modified later on, because if it were to be modified, there would be no mechanism for skeleton data transfer to occur, since they are not custom append list instances. Be careful and review these instances. Okay. So we're appending a list to another list, and this list consists of a list. So I'm like, okay, so if this is a list of the last set of the played cards, then I guess each one would be like a meld, maybe? I don't understand this. Because unless they're organized into individual melds, the item at 1 doesn't make sense, but even then, I don't understand why we are dealing with only item at index 1. And I even put this, notice that this is item 1, not item, do not fuse this section with below section. But I did not put a comment. So I'm gonna have to go and look at this code in the dir check, I believe, because it doesn't make any sense here. I'm not understanding this. So what ends up happening though is we iterate through. Oh, okay, no. So the card group name, we're appending a list to the card group last set played cards ref. So that is the card group. But that still doesn't answer the question of why we're iterating through item 1. So like, just roll with it here. So we're iterating through item 1, which is a list. We're appending every card's ID to an ID list, and then we were appending to the skeleton player data dict in the previous form the item 0 .id, and then the ID list. And yeah, I just don't understand what, I don't know what item 0 is versus item 1, so we have to figure this out. So this is some special case scenario. So we'll go back over here. We're gonna go to receive section and look at this skeleton player data. Okay, and we can figure out what we're keeping and getting rid of first of all. So we're getting rid of that because we don't iterate. Card group equals get adder object 1 and key. We're gonna keep that but restructure it. Now since we got rid, well, we'll just keep going. For Toop and Ader, so that's gone. Yeah, that's all gone actually. I'll keep that one line just so I know like to do that. If Toop 0 in AP or M, well we can keep this, but we need to change it to the Toop to be something else. It's gonna be data. So let's go ahead and unindent all this. Make sure we got this done correctly. Yep, okay. So now we say card group is equal to get adder object 1 key, but we're gonna also unindent this. Okay, so now this is on the same level. So we have if item is equal to skeleton player data, card group is equal to get adder at object 1 and key, but it's not going to be key anymore. It's going to be so this is supposed to be the card group name. Yeah, this is, or the rather this is the attribute name, because this would be like hand or play cards or pre-sort play cards. So that would now be that would now be so the self card 3. Yeah, so this is gonna correspond with adder name. So we go over here and we're gonna put adder name, I think. Yeah. No, that's not true. Not adder name. Adder name. Yeah, sorry. Okay. Oops. Have to be careful. Adder name. Group equals get adder object 1, but we're actually going to reference the data, and it's going to be data at index 0, 1, 2. So 0, 1, 2. Yeah. Oh, see, so it's we use the same name. We use adder name twice. So in this case, we would have to, we can call it the card group equals get adder object 1 at data 0, 1, 2. Oh, no. This is wrong again. This is wrong here. Okay, I see what I did. This actually should, this goes inside here somewhere. And I guess we'll put it last. So this would go right here. And so we have C1, C2, change attribute list, append time, dot perf counter, player for the dir string, and now the adder name here is actually supposed to be the skeleton player data. I think that's, yeah, skeleton player data. And now this is gonna be data, and this, let's see, so it's just gonna have another element. It's gonna have A for append. Then I think we can turn this into a tuple. So we're just gonna go ahead and do that because I don't think we modify it. So we have a tuple consisting of item 0 ID and then ID list. Whatever item at 0 is, we still have to figure that out. And then we have another element, which is the self. Oh, that's not supposed to be in the string. That's supposed to be that is a string, so we don't have to put quotations around it. Yeah, so let's just triple check this. Timestamp dir string player skeleton player data for attribute name, and then the data, and all this is the data, and we have to put another parentheses to close that, and the data consists of a tuple as the second element, and then the third element is this string, which is an index, a sliced copy or a slice of the card group name. So we actually in client are going to want to access data, because this all is what is passed as the data parameter or argument to the dircheck function call. This is the adder name, this is the dir string. So all this information right here is directly passed to dircheck, and this is passed as the data variable or parameter. So we want to access at index 0, 1, at index 2. That is the card group name. Data at index 2. So let's go back over here. Yeah, it's data at index 2, and this is the actual card group, because this again is going to be that card group name slice string. So like, let's just say it's hand, so this would be object1.hand, but we need to determine what object1 is. So let us ensure that we know what object1 is. Let me say object1 equals, and this is for player and receive, and this would be the object1 arg. So let's search object1 arg, and this is for the receive. So it's either for player okay, so object1 arg is going to be current or other plus tup1. So this is going to be current or other player. Yeah, current or other player is going to be object1. Object1 is going to be current or other player. So let's go back up here, and this is going to be current or other player. So that makes sense. The current or other player dot hand. And we can actually leave that right there. This we don't actually need. I can put data. So for x in data, or rather for x, y, z in data, but we want to name these. So data 2 is going to be the card group name, and then data 1 or data 0, and then what about data 1? So this will be card group name as Z. Now I don't know if this is always going to be true actually, so let's put a hold on this, because we might not be able to actually do this as like the special, you know, that special case I was looking at. It might be the only time it's structured with 3 entries in data. So let me actually I'll put a star. It means it needs to be actually I'll just put the 2. That means it needs to be modified. If int integer type 1 lower, yeah, this is gonna remain, so we'll just get rid of the restructure. If int in string type 2 1 lower, and then yeah, we want to keep all this, and then object equals game dot card group dict at 2 1. So this is the card object that we're dealing with. Pretty sure we want to keep at least a form of that. If tube is equal to a, yeah, we want to keep that. If the length of tube is equal to 3, yeah, we want to keep that. In the case that we are dealing with appending from a meld, within a meld group, tube 2 will be the meld num of the meld in the card group. Okay, and then this is card group at tube 2 append object call from dirt check game ID equals ID. And the card group is assigned way up here. Okay, so that makes sense. We're appending to that specific card group. Now this is else for in the case that we're appending a card directly to a card group. We would say card group append object call, so that's going to remain pretty much the same. If tube 0 is equal to P, okay, and then if length of tube is equal to 3, in the case that we're dealing with popping from a meld within a meld group, tube 2 will be the meld num of the meld in the card group. Meld equals card group at tube 2, okay. Meld.pop meld.index of object, okay, and then restructure is going, so else in the case we were popping card directly from a card group, card group pop card group index object, so that's going to remain I think exactly the same. And then LF tube is PM, tube 1 below is the meld num. We do not use object here, do not change. Let me put the do not change first. And we put restructure, and we're taking that away because card group.pop tube 1 call from dirt check equals true, okay, and then restructure is gone, and this is correlates to this if int is in string of type of tube 1 lower. So in this case it is not an integer, so this means tube 1 is going to be is a list. So in this case we would say if tube 0 is equal to A, card group name equals P plus string of current player ID plus dot plus key, and that's gonna be altered just a bit. If key is not equal to last set play cards ref. Okay, now we're getting to this special case scenario. So we started off on like the most rare instance, which is why I don't want to build the rest of the function the entire functionality of how we handle this set of card groups. Off of the rarest case, that would be silly. So if key is not equal to last set of play cards ref, and we put below, I'm not sure that key would always be the proper card group name for the new custom append list. We are not sure that key would always be the proper card group name for the new custom append list. I believe it should be, but I'm not 100% positive. Okay, fair enough, I'll leave that. New list, so in this case we're creating a custom append list. Alright, that makes sense. I'm not sure game ID is necessary here. It seems that when we append an empty list, card movement would not be called, leaving here until I'm 100% sure it's unnecessary. That also makes sense. Card group append new list, call from direct check equals true, game ID equals game ID. Okay. Comment added 10, 18, 23. We're reviewing the section while debugging. I'm curious as to whether or not the section would actually be used. Do we ever add complete populated melds? Side note, is the proper logic implemented for whenever we do add such a populated card group, meaning that are the cards in the meld accounted for concerning data transfer, addition to skeleton player data properly, etc. Review this. Okay. For X in Tup 1, card equals game card group dick. Okay, and then we say new list append the card, call from direct check 2, game ID. Okay, and that makes sense. All right. And then this accounts for the special case card group, which always consists of lists that have a card as index 0. Okay, so this is what I was curious about. The index 0 and index 1 has a card as index 0 and a meld as index 1, so it is handled in a special way. First, we append the card to the card meld list, and then we iterate through the ID list, the received to 1, okay, appending each card from the meld to the meld cards list, and we append the meld cards list to the card meld list, then finally append the card meld list to the card group. That sounds complicated as that sounds extraordinarily confounded. Restructure if key is equal to last set of play cards ref. Okay, so this is a very rare and very delicate instance, it looks like. I don't entirely understand what's going on here. So let's just keep going through. So we have the card meld list, which is a new custom append list instance with the card group name last set play cards ref, and then this meld cards list is another custom append list with the card group name. Now we are going to iterate through the Tup 1. Okay, and then if X is equal to Tup 1 0, so we're saying if okay, so if it's the first card, then we say card equals, I'm confused. Why do we just keep going anyway. Card equals game card group at X. Okay. how is X the ID though? So this, that's just how it's consists of, right? Because it's in skeleton form, so this is an ID. So we literally just pass X to it. And then it says, I'm quite sure game ID is not necessary since we're dealing with that play card graph. It means your card move is not going to be called for this. Append, leaving it down 100% sure. It is unnecessary. Okay. Restructure card meld list append. And then we append the card, call from door check equals true. Game ID equals game ID. Okay. Alright. Then we say if X is equal to 2 1 1, so if this is the second entry in the tube 1, then we say for Y and X, because this is supposed to be a meld, which is a list. So then we say for each card in that meld, card equals game.card group digs at Y, which is going to be the ID. And then it says I'm quite sure game is same thing. And this is restructure meld cards list append so if it's the first entry of tube 1, we append the card to the card meld list, and then if it's the second object in tube 1, which is a list, we iterate through the list and append each card to the meld cards list, and then we say card meld list append the meld card list. So now we have the card meld list, which consists of a card at index 0 and then a meld at index 1. Now why that is, I still don't understand. I still don't know why we do that. So then it says card group append card meld list. So apparently we do this for a reason. I'm guessing it's so that we can like grab the first card to gain some information from it. I don't know exactly what that information is, but there's a reason I did it this way, and I don't want to change it. And then if tube 0 is equal to P, do not change this. It is correct. Tube 1 in this case would be the meld num of the meld to be popped. So we don't need to access it via index. That has already been done on the sending side. Okay, restructure card group pop tube 1. Okay, so tube 1 is the meld num. So this, in this case, we are popping a meld from whatever card group. Okay, and then this says do not change. This was coded correctly. This was coded incorrectly as tube 0, as are the above if checks. When this method is added to the dict, it is added simply as the string C. It's tuple A56, as are the others. So if tube 0 is equal to C, then I don't know if this is indented correctly. Tube 0. I think this is supposed to say if. I must have deleted the if on accident. If tube 0, and then so this is if A, P, P, and M, and then this is gonna be an elif. Wait, something's not right here. If Okay. Where exactly was I? I was right here. No, I was at C. Okay, so something's, this isn't lined up correctly, is it? Oh no, it is. There we go. If tube 0 in AP or M, and then we'll say if tube 0 is equal to C, restructure card group clear, call from dirt check, okay. And then if tube 0 is equal to CM, restructure card group at 1 dot clear, call from dirt check is equal to true. That's complicated as shit. Alright, so this really isn't that bad. It's delicate though, and we have to make sure that we're referencing the correct tuples and everything. So it's really, we just have to be careful when we're like transferring the data. The only thing that we're going to be adding to the, I think what we previously called the tup, is going to be, so this is actually going to be a reference to data. And we're just going to add another thing to data, which is going to have the card group name. So yeah, that sounds right. How long? Okay, 14 more minutes. I'm gonna go 14 more minutes for my little break. I'm gonna use the restroom a little bit, but I can wait my little 15 minutes. Okay. So we will hold off on that, and now we're gonna. Right. So how about this? I feel like I should hold off on messing with the, because this is the rare case right here, and I would rather work on another instance of it, you know what I mean? Another instance of like this where this is modified, and not the one that handles last set play cards ref. So anything other than that one. So we're gonna go to, well, first off, what we can do is we have to have a way to know whether or not we're going to be using C1 or C2, because if we're dealing with player 1, we want to use the C1's change attribute list. If we're dealing with player 2, we want to do C2 change attribute list. But how do we access that? So we already have the game ID parameter that's passed, I noticed, and or there's also the self, and the self has its card group name, and I'm certain that the card group name is, yeah, so it's gonna have the exact full name, like P1. Yeah, whenever you create the custom append list, it is created with a full name, like right here, and this is like P1 initial meld cards, which means right here the card group name is going to be P1 or P2. So I know sometimes the game ID parameter is not passed. Oh, we actually have this assigned already. Look, self.player. So go to where were we working at? Right here. Okay. We want to say we can assign this up here. We can say if card group name 02 is equal to P1, then self dot what do we call it? The changed attribute list equals C1 change attribute list, and then if it's P2, we say the self.change attribute list is equal to C2. So then we would reference the right here, we would reference the self.changed attribute list. So then we say self.change attribute list append time perf counter player skeleton player data, and then a item 0 ID list, and then data at index 2 is going to be that specific card group name, which previously was the key, but since it's not a dict anymore and it's just a list, we're adding it as the third entry in the tuple for the data tuple. So I think that this is correct. Yeah, we say self.change attribute list append, and yeah, so if it's player 1, we're going to append that to C1. If it's player 2, it's going to append that to C2, and I'm quite certain that's what we would want. Yeah. Alright, so we can get rid of that line, and now okay. So I think what I'll actually do is I will just jump into that special case way down here, and we'll change the terminology. So let's just go ahead and say if tube 0, so instead of this being tube 0, this is going to be data 0. Yeah, data 0, because this is timestamp, dir string, adder name, and then data. So data at index 0 is going to be the yeah, this is going to be data. And we'll say if data 0 is in A, P, or M, or P, or rather PM, sorry, then if int is in string type of tup1, so I'm pretty sure this would be data1 instead. Yeah, because the only thing we changed was the data is what contains this information now, not the tube. So yeah, we would just basically say data1 if int is in string of type of 2-1 or data1. In this case, data1 would be, well, it would be a special case scenario, so it wouldn't be this. It would be, let's find another one. Okay, so right here, so else, let's copy this, and here we go. So this one's being replaced, and this is the replacement, and so we'd say self.change attribute list, time per counter player for dir string, skeleton player data for adder name, and then okay, so I just copied that from the above. So this should actually say self-cargo name 3, which is the same thing, but then it's a an ID list. So, oh no, okay. I think we do have to reference not directly data, we have to reference data1. I see now. Oh, nope. That's not true. Okay, let me slow down. We want the data to consist of just A and then self ID ID list, but we also are adding the card group name, and just to make sure that it's the same thing, yeah, it's self card group name, it's 3 onward. And I just realized in things to do, we'll make this to where we only assign this once, because otherwise we're slicing it every time we execute this, and instead we should have like an attribute called like the short card group name, which is the card group name 3 onward, because otherwise every time we do this we're slicing it again, and that's extra computational power. It's, at least I think, like I'm pretty sure that's how that works. Yeah, we're basically calling a slice, like we're calling a method on it, that, or maybe if it's not necessarily a method, it is still like has to compute that, as opposed to just referencing where it's located in the memory that's already been saved. So we'll copy this, go to things to do, and we'll go to non-pressing issues, and then we'll add this one in, and we'll call it create short card group name, and then 4724, and put in cal by create the attribute, instance attribute, We'll just call it short card group name or something like that to use in place of currently. Every time we call 3 onward, we are re-slicing the list in every time, instead of slicing it once and assigning it to a location in memory. This will save computational power time. Alright. Easy. So back to here. Let's see. Okay, we're at break time. I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to go. I'll probably just go 1 more hour today. And yeah, we got some office break gifts. That's this I'll call. Just move it. I saw like a compilation of those videos the other day. Like cats are just not really afraid of them. They just know they're faster, so they just like that one though. I think he almost got him actually. I mean, they're not faster every time, but their reaction time is just better. Okay, we're back. I'm gonna do one more hour. I think I'm gonna call it quits after that because Yeah. Alright. It's Sunday. So we have the timestamp, the dir string, the adder name, and then the data, which consists of a tuple of a ID list, and then self card group name. So yeah, tup 0 is going to be this, a operation string. Then tup 1 is going to be like the item or whatever. And then tup 2 is going to be the card group name. Alright, that looks good to me. Yep, timestamp, dir string, pattern name, and then the data, which consists of a tuple, a ID list, self card group name. Alright, now I think it's good to continue like this. We're going to just go through each instance in this file real quick. So we're going to look for skeleton player data dict. Alright. So this says currently this counts for slice mode copies appended to initial mode card, bad length 10 modes, list ref, length to 10 modes ref, creates an ID list, appends each ID to the ID list, and then appends the ID list to the skeleton. Well, actually this is going to be the self dot changed attribute list with the given card group name as the third element. As the third data element. Okay, so now let's find the. So this is going to be comment. Okay, we didn't change this one. I'll put update comment. Alright, so this is for elif card group name is in self.skeleton list and call from dir check is equal to false. So if self card group name self.skeleton list and call from dir check is equal to false. Okay. If call, and this is an append. So if card is in string of type of item.lower, if self in eval self card group name, and this means if it's a meld within a larger meld group, then we would do self.player.skeleton player data dict self card name, and then we have the meld num. Okay, so this is going to be changed to instead be self.changed attribute list dot append, and we're going to append the, let's just copy from here. So this is going to have the time.perf counter, the player as the dir string, adder as the skeleton player data as the adder name, and then the actual data is going to consist of a item ID and then self.meldnum. So we're going to replace this, but we'll just do it like this. We're going to put backspace, comma, there we go. So this one has 4 elements to data. It has the operation string, the card ID, the self.meldnum, and then the self.cardroot name. Okay, as the 4th element. And yeah, so that should be good. Skeleton player data, a item ID, self.meldnum. Alright, so that's good. And then we can update this comment, which will say modified for 7.24. Adding latitude check or nothing within this program. We actually want to keep this a special note. Okay. Iterates through the item and extracts the IDs from the cards. Extracts IDs from the cards if they're see them again if they're no ID, send them to the self dot changed attribute list. This is modified for 7.24. Okay. If card and string type of item lower, if card, if self and eval, card and self to change attribute list. Append the timestamp, the dir string with the adder name, and then the data, which is a item ID, self.meldnum, and then self.cardroot name 3. So we're going to copy this little section right here. We're going to go down here for else, and in this case we would say that the data is going to be a and then item ID. So we're just going to have everything except the meldnum. So we just have a item ID and then self card group name, and we have the card group name there. Alright, so that should be good as well. Let's go ahead and look for the first instance. Okay, so now we have this. This is in the append, and it's elif card group name is in skeleton list, call for check is equal to false, if card, elif custom append list. So this is if we're dealing with a skeleton list, but we're appending a list, custom append list specifically, to one of those card groups. So this would be where like this is like a meld. So we say copied list for X and item if card and string type of X. And I'm pretty sure okay, so we already tested this, but I just want to I'll just put this in things to do. Actually, this will be something we'll do later on. We'll put string type lower, and this is for 724, modify all instances of string of type x dot lower to instead use this is gonna just be it's gonna be what, like just the type, meaning like to instead use the type name directly, i.e. type x equals card, instead of converting card to string and lowering it. See test reminders. Reference. Okay, so we'll do that, and so we say copy list is an empty list for x an item. If card is in string type of x lower, copy list append x id. Then we say, I'm not sure this is necessary. Isn't this for a meld within a meld within a meld group? That doesn't ever occur, I don't believe. Yeah, and I think. Oh yeah, that's insane. I think only 2 people did that. That's Jamie Thomas. Yeah, that's just too high. Yeah. That's just too big. Ryan Sheckler, dude. God damn. Ryan Sheckler was just insane, bro. Crazy. Wow. That kickflip from Ryan Sheckler though was probably the sickest like kickflip over a gap I've ever seen in my life. He was like the best at that. Okay, got distracted. So if custom pendulous and string type item, alright, so we're down here. Yeah, I don't think this instance does actually ever happen, but we'll leave it for now. Self.player.skeleton player data dictionary. Core group name 3. So this is going to be easy to replace. So we'll put the 2. Then we'll go right here and grab that. Right here. Say self.change attribute list. Append time perf counter player skeleton player data and and then it's gonna be a and copied list, so we're just gonna copy that and that. There we go. Yep, that's good. So we have self core group name 3. We appended the so that should be fairly, not fairly correct. That should be precisely correct. Now the next instance is in pop. If list in string type item self of item.lower and custom append not in. So if it's a list that we're popping, but it's not a custom append list, we say self players append PM and then item. So we have to, let's go back to this line we were just at. Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah. Sounds right. Yep. Okay. So self change attribute list append the, oops, we forgot our little guide. This needs to go there as well. Denso Hanzo, Denso. So this is 219. 219. All right, and so timestamp, dir string, skeleton player data as adder name, and then the data here is going to be PM and then item and then self card group name. Right. All right. That should be good. Cool. Alright, let's see the next one. Alright. That's insane. I'm so afraid to do a blunt on the French fry. I saw a dude do it like a couple days ago, and I'm just like, bro. Every time I get into one, I'm just like, no way. I would hurt myself. I feel like. I just feel like I would lose my balance completely. All right. Right here. Okay. Alright, so this is in pop and it's for else, and then we are in elif card your name and skeleton list. So okay, this is when we're popping and it's not a list. So if self card name is self skeleton list column berserk is equal to false. If card in string types of if self with eval self player. Alright, so this is for a card, not a list. And we did this correctly and put the timestamp, the dir string as player, skeleton player data, and then the actual data itself is going to be self item ID and then self meld num. So this one's got 3. So we have P self of item.id, self of meld num, and then self.card group name. Alright, that is good to go. Next one is gonna be right here. This was for if self is in eval. So this is if it's in the card group. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I had to think about it for a second. And now this is if it's not actually in the card group. We would say self player skeleton player data dig self card group name 3 onward append, and we're gonna append p and self of item.id. So without the meld num. So we're gonna get rid of the meld num. And that's great. That is correct, I believe. And now this is if custom append list is in the item. So this is for custom append list. And this is gonna be, the data is gonna be PM self of item dot meld num. Okay, so this is gonna be PM self of item dot meld num. Okay, so this is actually not so hard, guys. This is really just have to be careful. And then this is gonna be clear, so we're gonna copy that. We're gonna go right here, and this is if card group name is in skeleton list. Okay, and double comment to replace that. Self change attribute list append, and let's review the last one. I didn't actually review it. Oh, you see I messed up. No, I didn't. Hold up. Okay, yeah, I did it right. So timestamp, dir string, skeleton player data is adder name, and then the data is PM self of item dot meld num, and then the card group name. Okay, and then the previous one is the same thing. Self change attribute list, timestamp, dir string, adder name, data, p self of item and ID, because you're just popping a card and you just need the ID. And then if you're popping it from a meld, which is the one above that, self change attribute list append timestamp player skeleton player data, and then p self of item ID, but then self dot meld num, because you do need that. All right, now this one is just gonna have C comma, so we're just gonna have C, comma, and we're gonna have to modify all the logic associated with that. So let's just double check this. Self change attribute list append timestamp dir string adder name, and then data is just C, but now we add the self card group name because it's not a key anymore, because it's not a dictionary. Same thing here, we can copy that, go down here, double comment to replacement, self change attribute list append timestamp adder name, dir string adder name, and then this one is going to be CM eval self card group name dot index of self. Okay, so that one is a little bit different, I think. Okay, so copy that, and we can just put that right there. So we have cm and then eval self of card self dot card group name dot index of self, and then self card group name, and the data is, yeah, all that. But why is it okay if self is in eval? So that's basically the meld num, I think. Okay, this wasn't so terribly bad. Yeah, I remember doing all this, so like it's kind of fresh in my mind. And now there's no more results here, which is cool. That means we handled every instance of that. Okay. Let's see. We got 19 more minutes. Well, actually 29 more minutes because of my 10-minute break. So yeah, we're gonna go a little almost 30 more minutes. Alright, so now we pretty much reviewed everything here. Let's just triple check and do skeleton player data and just scroll through real quick. So this first instance is change attribute list append, the timestamp, the dir string, the adder name, and the data is A. But then we have a tuple, so this is that special case scenario. And I'll just put a note here. This is a special case scenario. I don't completely understand the logic behind the system, although I did briefly review it. But I am quite sure it is correctly coded. Be careful implementing logic associated with this in dir check, because the second element here is a tuple, not a string, not a non-iterable. Yeah. Okay. So then we have this as the second element, and then the third. But I don't know. I'm like, maybe were we supposed to just do this? Like, should we just have 3? Like, should we just reference it in terms of, like, should we remove the tuple and just have it be a string? I mean, the single tuple with individual elements. I feel like that would be the better way. I'm gonna do that, because that's what we're gonna do. Yeah, we're going to implement all this logic in dir check receive. So let's go to the next instance, and we have self-change attribute list dot append time.perf counter player for dir string skeleton player data as adder name and append id list and self dot card group name 3 onward. Okay, and then yeah, that looks good. Alright, next one is here. This is for if card group name and skeleton list called check is equal to false, if card is in string type item lower and self is in the card group, we say self change attribute list append timestamp player skeleton player data for adder name data equals a item id self.meld num and then self.card name. Alright, and then we say else self change attribute list append timestamp player skeleton player data a and then just item id. We don't need the meld num because it's just in the card group, not within a meld in the card group. Then for this one we have for handling custom append lists, it's change attribute list append timestamp player as their string skeleton player data as adder name and then a data is a copied list and then the card group name. Yeah, that's pretty straightforward. And next one is gonna be somewhere down here. Who is this? Okay, so this is for pop if list is in item not lower but not custom append. Alright, self change attribute list append timestamp player skeleton player data and then PM item self card name. And this is popping what now? This is for popping the skeleton player data. This is for popping if list is a string. Yeah, so this yeah, this should be right. And then the next thing is down here for card group name and skeleton list. And this is for else. I don't know what that means exactly. Oh, it's for card. So if card is in item and the self, which is the list, is in the card group, is in the card group, meaning it's a meld within a meld group, we say self change attribute list append timestamp player skeleton player data and P for pop. We get the item ID and the card's ID and then the meld num and then the card group name. So that's correct. And then if it's not within a meld in a card group, if it's just directly in a card group itself, we say self change attribute list append timestamp player skeleton player data P self item ID because we don't need the meld num. And then if it's a custom append list, we say self change attribute list append timestamp player skeleton player data PM for pop meld and the self at item dot meld num. Okay, and yeah, that makes sense. And then we have clear if card group name is in the self skeleton list, card group is equal to false, self not in the card group, self change attribute list append timestamp player skeleton player data. Then we have C for clear and then just the card group name. But if it is in the meld in a meld group, we do self change attribute list append timestamp dir string player adder name skeleton player data is equal to CM and then eval self card group name dot index of self. That's correct because we're checking the actual card group to find the index of the meld, which is the meld num that we're clearing. And yeah, that's it. Okay, cool. So we did that. We can go to devlog. We'll put from 145 to, well, anyway, finished refactoring all instances of skeleton player data digged in CalPy, reviewed all changes and everything looks 100% good. Alright, finished refactoring, send, receive, logic, enter, check for skeleton player data date. Alright, and okay, so now we're going to go to client, and what we'll do, I think, is bring it side by side, and we're actually gonna right, let's go to the first instance and hide that. And now, okay, so this is receive. Alright. So we're gonna go in order here. So if adder name is equal to skeleton player data, card group is equal to get adder, object 1, data 2, object 1 is current other player, and data 2 is going to be 0, 1. Well, this is actually, yeah, this is going to vary. This is going to vary, so we're going to get rid of that. Yeah, and this is also going to vary. We can't just say this. This will based on diff instances of logic in data. Alright. Alright. So let me say if data 0. So I think data 0 is always gonna be think let's make sure that the first one is always going to be the op string. So if we'll put op string equals data 0. So let's go instance through instance here. We have a, so data 0 is op string, op string, op string, op string, op string. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we want 6 op string, 7 op string, 8 op string, 9 op string, 10 op string, 11. So out of 11 of 11, 0 is always the op string, so that's gonna be correct. And then so we'll actually just say if op string is in AP or PM, and then we'll say if op string is in A or P, op string, if op string, op string, alright. See if there's any more. Yeah, there's a couple more down there. So this is going to be changed to op string. Okay. So this is actually if op string is in AP or PM, if int is in string type 2.1. So this is not going to be 2.1 anymore. This is going to be so this is going to be a card ID. So that would be, we say if, so if op string is A, P or PM, and this is if int is in string of type 1. So if this, let's go to the top, and this is AP or PM, so we go all the way to the top. So this would be right here, item 0 ID. So it would be, this would be data 1. Alright. Okay, and then this one is actually ID list. Okay, so yeah, that's not gonna be for that. Okay, and this one is gonna be item ID, item ID, not that one. And then, yeah, this is P or PM, so yeah. Item in this case would be this list, so it's not going to apply here. And then P is self of item ID, and that's for card Yeah, that's right. And then the same thing, P is for card, and then the self of item meld num. Well, this might be a meld num actually. So this would actually, okay, yeah, if it's A or P, so PM it wouldn't apply to that, okay. But alright, so that part's good. So that line is good rather. So now we say if op string is in A or P, then the object is equal to game card group dig at data 1. Right? So data 1 is gonna be all the way back up to the top. You can just scroll through, we don't have to click through rather, we don't have to scroll through. So the object, so this is for A or P. We just went over that actually, and that's correct. Let's just triple check. ID, yep. Well, actually, no, yeah, it's not going to apply to this because int is not. So that one's good. And then that one's good. That one's good. That one's not going to enter into that. That one's not going to enter that. That one's good. That one's good. And that one's not going to apply. Okay, cool. Alright, that's good. Now we say if op string is equal to A, and if the length of the tup is equal to 3, in the case that we're dealing with a pending from a meld within a meld group, tup2 would be meld num, and then card group, and I'll put needs update comments. So if the length of not tup, but so this is for if it's A and the length of the tup is equal to 3. This is when we're dealing with a pending from a meld within a meld group. Tup2 will be the meld num of the meld in the card group. String is equal to A, length of tup is equal to 3. Oh, we actually hit our 2-hour mark. I got 7 more minutes. Okay. Let's see. Alright, option is A. But if the length of the tup is, this is for, in the case we're dealing with a pending from a meld within a meld group, and that would be not here, okay, so it would be number 2, let's go to number 2 right here, else, okay, current card and item ID, this is append, so this is for list. So change attribute list, append player, skeleton player data, A, item ID, self meld num. I think this is the instance we're referring to right here. But we can't really go off of the length of it anymore, because before we would go by key. So like we would have to change this. This is gonna need to be changed. So we're gonna put can't go by tuple anymore. Have to go off of, we'll call this card group name maybe. Alright, and I'll just put, this is where we're gonna stop because we're done. Why is it doing this? Okay. So now we'll put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 7, 24 at 353. Stopped here. Alright. So we got some stuff done. I'm pretty happy. We're not finished. Stopped at line number 230 in 5. Alright. And this is actually this is send. Alright, that's where we stop. And we didn't finish. We put almost finished. Refactoring, send, receive logic, and for scouts and player data. Alright, and the time is 4 o'clock. So that was 2.75 hours. No, 2.25. And so we did this from 145 to 355. And now we're gonna copy this. And actually I forgot to put this part where we stage, commit, and push our changes. And this was done from 3:56 to 4 o'clock. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Open up the terminal. We're in the root directory. We're gonna check our branch. Secondary is the correct branch. We're gonna git add dot. So LF will be replaced by CRLF. That's inconsequential. Git commit -m for our commit message. We did not actually copy that correctly. So let's redo that. And forgot to put my opening quotation mark. Get rid of that quotation mark and this one and this one right here. And that's it. Now we have our new commit. We did 4 files changed, 105 insertions, 101 deletions. So we got rid of 101 and added 105, so we actually added 4 lines, which is good. I don't want to add any more lines. At this point, we're really just doing cleanup. So git push Canasta and then secondary, which is the branch that we're working on, and looks like it pushed everything, so we're good to go here. Everything is auto-saved. Now we're going to go to programming projects, Canasta. We're going to copy this folder. We're going to go back to the backup. We're going to delete. It's going to ask me this. I'm going to click OK, Control V to paste the current project into the copy directory, the backup directory rather. So let's go to text, devlog, go to the very end to make sure today's the correct date, 4/7, which is the correct date. So we know it worked. We can now rename this backup to the day of today, and that is going to mean we have a safe local backup as well as a safe cloud backup to our repo. Y'all have a good Sunday. See you maybe